welcome in. How are we doing today? I hope you are all fine. So let me see. Yes, screen is shared. Usual picture is getting dropped as well. Nice to see you, Sandra. Okay. So for today, as planned, right? As planned, our little fundamental AMA, and then some things about the upcoming Project X, which are pretty exciting. So basically we did work out like the actual rates and everything. So we should be ready to share them very, very soon. So very interesting there. We got some very nice new connections there. So let's see if everything works out. We got some pretty neat things to actually announce. All right. So let me see. Let's have a quick ride over the fundamentals, right? Just as usual. And then I think we have enough time left over to talk about things happening. And yeah, basically for some open questions there. So let me dig right into it. We will start in BD Capital as usual with the tokenomics side. Basically the taxes. So in BD Capital we have 15% buy and sell tax. This is a flat tax. One thing to keep in mind, every single transaction is getting taxed. So even if you move your funds from one wallet to another, it will get taxed. We can make this transaction tax-free, right? You just need to tell us about the transaction and then we can make it tax-free. Otherwise, the 15%, they split up in the following way. We have 8% which are used for reflections in BUSD. You do not need to do anything to actually receive them. They are dependent on our actual trade volume. So at the moment, with the trade volume overall being very low, you won't see like a lot of BUSD rewards, but I can assure you the contract is working just fine. This BUSD is getting dropped automatically into your wallet. The only thing you need to do is to actually add the BUSD contract as for display into your wallet, and then you will see it. The way the contract works is that the contract is collecting our token, our own token, until a certain threshold. So right now the threshold is set at 150 billion tokens collected in total. Once the threshold is reached, the next cell appearing will actually trigger the contract cell. Contract cell means following the contract is exchanging banks into BUSD to then start the distribution process. Once the distribution process started after this contract cell, let's say roughly 10 holders at the moment will receive their BUSD rewards with every single transaction happening. So basically this is the way this reflection contract works. We have 4% which are used for marketing and our community fund. We have 2% which are used for a manual buyback and burn. Basically this means that our contract is exchanging, here again, our token for BNB. The BNB are gathered in the buyback and burn wallet, and we can then use the buyback and burn wallet to just constantly driven some buybacks and then proceed, once we collect the tokens, to burn them. There were some burns already from our side, but then again, we are constantly just buying back our own token. Then we have 1% which is added automatically into our liquidity, a very important part. As for now, our liquidity looks very, very healthy. Then again, still some work to do for the liquidity side. Just for a comparison, when we did reach the all-time high at 12.5 million, we had roughly like around 450 to 500 rep BNB sitting in our liquidity, which was a very, very critical stage for our liquidity. This problem was caused due to vertical movement upwards, right? This isn't like a bad thing to happen. But then again, if the liquidity itself cannot keep up with the market cap, you will reach a very critical stage with the project itself. So right now, way better for the next, let's say growth, way better foundation there for the next growth appearing, which is very, very important, right? A lot of people out there are actually not a fan of low liquidity tokens, which I can totally understand. The impact the liquidity actually has, if your liquidity ratio compared to your market cap is too low, or let's say very, very small, you will see buys and sells happening, having a lot of impact on the chart itself. On the other hand, if your liquidity reaches a very, very high stage, you will see a very hard time for the chart to move. So you need to find this sweet spot in between of a healthy liquidity ratio to your, or compared to your market cap. So basically this just as a insight for the liquidity and as a quick overview over the tokenomics of BD Capital, or let's say Banker Stream, the token itself. So what is the goal with BD Capital or our token Banker Stream? Basically, we are aiming, like only aiming for passive income generation. This takes a lot of time to actually build. We will have in the future, as you can see, main purpose of our whole ecosystem is passive income. We will have in the future multiple things. The first thing, of course, is the token itself. Now we have a reflection token, 8% in BUSD. The main problem with a reflection token, which we can see at the moment, and I also see other projects facing the exact same problem, which are relying on reflections, is that you are always dependent on trade volume, right? Now, if we talk about exchange listings, for example, they do not count in unless you are, I think Mandala is accepting full tokenomics. So the volume generated, for example, by an exchange is not counting towards the BUSD reflections, because this volume is not getting taxed in the way of the DeFi space. So only the DeFi volume counts towards the BUSD rewards, and this is the main problem in itself. If you have a reward token by itself, it's very, very hard to sustain the reward token itself, right? This is the moment in which you need to build the ecosystem around the token itself. So as one addition, which we started already, we have our fund, right? Our fund is basically collecting money in various, let's say, forms. For example, right now collecting in BNB, and this money is used to invest into different projects as a community. This is the time in which you see we had quite some pulse in the past. We can take a look, or basically anyone can take a look at the fund through the dashboard. Just keep in mind, dashboard is not fully fixed yet. You still have Matic and Algorand and Moonrock to be added into the dashboard, but then again, you can see a quick overview here. The way we are working, just as a little bit of insight, we as a team, basically, for example, me, myself, I am a trained banker from Germany. So we are taking a vetting process on different projects, right? Once we set our check there, we say, all right, the team seems safe, the project, the future potential of the project is quite high. Then we will set up a community poll. Basically, any banks holder can participate in the poll and decide if we want to add the investment into our fund or if we want to stay away with the fund itself. The main goal is to create an additional source of income here for us as banks holders. Takes quite a lot of time to build, especially also right now. The setup right now, we are also volume dependent. So this is, of course, an issue which is not only on the BUSD side, but also on the fund side. But then again, in the future, you will receive 75% of the yield created by the fund. So the main purpose of the fund is to work as a long-term holder, to invest into various projects out there which are generating passive income. The next poll upcoming will be MetaRuffy. I just need some time and I want to check if we can actually use the voting system in our dashboard, which you see here on the top. Right now it is not fully working on certain wallets. They have it fixed already, but they didn't push the update yet, which is quite annoying. Then again, the next poll will be, as we talked about yesterday, about MetaRuffy and the metaverse property investments for MetaRuffy itself. So next upcoming polls will stick to BSC. The next polls you are able to expect after the BSC polls, the first Ethereum polls. So quite some interesting things upcoming with the fund. So a lot of you heard of it already. We are not restructuring it, but we are adding or making a addition to the fund itself. The fund will work as a roof fund. So basically, we are dedicating as the BT Capital Founders team, in addition with new core team members for Project X, we will invest our time and our knowledge and experience and the network and everything to build Project X, which is a project which is in itself completely independent of banks. The exciting part is the whale fund will receive you could think of a team vesting, right? So he will receive basically the largest share of tokens, or basically we will receive the largest share of tokens without investing any money actively. So our money is still free for our investment cases, but then again, with the full growth potential. This is something we decided to work on because we did actually, yeah, you could say analyze the main problem at the moment. We need our fund to grow. We need yield payout of the fund itself. So the best way to do so is to actually have the fund working as a roof fund there, as a main shareholder of Project X, right? There will come more and more details, right? One thing I can already, or some things I can already share, aside from the things we already talked about, will come after the fundamentals. But basically this is the, yeah, you could say kind of restructuring process here, right? Now, in addition to our fund, this is something which is also very, very exciting. We are also building an ecosystem. We will start with a private sale and crowd sale platform, which will be integrated into our dashboard as well, and which is basically the start of our upcoming launchpad, right? The way we work on this private sale and crowd sale platform is basically that we are also vetting different projects out there, and once we set our checkmark there, these projects are actually able to use our private sale and crowd sale platform, right? Of course, we will have admin work there, and we will take fees as well, right? This is a very important part here. And for the fees also, we didn't decide yet ultimately on the actual distribution, but we will also distribute parts of the fees to every single holder out there. So this is the third income stream here, and basically also working on the ecosystem behind Banker Stream, which is very important because we need to add utility and everything into our ecosystem. Got a question here. Is it safe to say Project X is kind of like a dry run of the upcoming Launchpad project approach? Kind of. We want to test this out, of course. Now, we need to keep this straight. Project X is a completely independent project in itself, besides the point that our whale fund is actually receiving let's say, the largest share out of any holder out there. Basically, no one is able to buy more percentage holdings than our whale fund, for example, right? We help a lot, or basically we work very in-depth together with the actual team behind Project X, which will be running Project X in the future as the, let's say, main phases there. So we are working as strategic advisors, but this is something which we want to integrate as well, right? putting out our knowledge, our network and everything in exchange for a holding for our fund. So kind of a dry run there. So we started basically off Project X, we searched the initial team members, and now we are working very, very in-depth with them, right, to get this going. But in the future, you guys will be vetting and helping new projects to launch. So this is getting you guys some experience. Definitely, right? Definitely. You will see a lot of exciting things for Project X in itself, right? With the knowledge we gathered, with the network we made so far, and everything, this is already a very exciting one. But basically, yes, this is a lot of experience you get, a lot of network you're building in the process of setting everything up. And basically, this is also you could think of kind of a service, right? Could think of this investment company, which is heavily invested into another company there, and basically also helping them out with, for example, sales management, with the numbers and everything, to get the company going. Because if the company is running fine, the investment company itself is of course profiting a lot by it. And this is a concept we came up with, which is a possible very, very large boost for the fund in itself. The dev that's working with Project X, the same dev that's working on the BD Capital items, or is it a new dev? No, another dev. Like our devs, basically, it doesn't matter which dev you're talking about, like S1 or VMAL, they are way too loaded with work for BD Capital. They couldn't afford time on the side as well, right? It's not possible really. But for, let's say, for example, contract development, there is someone which we are basically structuring everything with, who is a rather big name in the space itself, right? So a lot of people know this name, especially if they have been in crypto for a longer time, right? So very exciting in itself. As soon as I can drop details, right? As soon as we have like confirmed things and everything running, we will of course share it. But then again, just be with us here. It takes a lot of time, for example, to get the rates right. To get the rates right for the pre-launch allocations and everything, and to work out the numbers for the allocations itself, for the supply, the circulating supply and everything. This is a lot of work in itself, but we are pretty close to opening like the socials for Project X and everything, and to actually start the real work behind it. Any hints on the dev? Like, honestly, I don't think this is a problem to actually share. So basically, we are talking a lot and planning a lot with Cracovia. Cracovia is a very, very well-known dev. He is known for very high quality contracts, very high quality dashboards, and all of that stuff. And basically, he will be working, like potentially, right? But I would say like, let's say 90 to 95%. He will be doing all the contract work and dev work for Project X, which is quite interesting. Or not interesting, but amazing, right? But I guess this is no problem to share at all. But this is something which is also very important, right? If you have a contract made by someone who is very well known in the space, who has a very, very good reputation by himself, then this is always a big plus than, let's say, for example, doing the contract with some random contract dev or something like this. Also, there's more behind the dev work, not only a contract. This is something which I can tease already a little bit. There will be a dashboard involved and things like that. So, of course, you need a very high quality stuff there. especially once we are able to share something. Like I'm itching to share everything, but I can't at the moment, right? Can't. But it's quite exciting. Quite exciting, can tell you. Some very nice things planned there for Project X to make this going pretty hard. All right. Sorry to interrupt your flow. No, don't worry. Don't worry. If there's any question, just drop it out, right? Just drop it out. So basically, what is the big plus of doing the things we are doing currently with Project X in the way we are doing it, right? One thing is we can make sure it is safe, right? Because we are like basically, you could think of team members there. So we can make sure it is safe for everyone out there. We have everything ready from the full doxing and everything. So this is also something which you can expect there for Project X, of course, for everyone being involved there, a KYC, a docs and everything. So basically we are safe, like totally safe from the team side, as we are in Banks itself. But the big plus there, besides this, is for our fund itself, right? So just imagine, these are not the numbers, right? The exact numbers, but this helps a lot to calculate things easy. Let's say, for example, the fund is receiving a 10% holding, shareholding of Project X, right? Just as an example to calculate easy. Now, if Project X is reaching 10 million market cap, for example, the fund would be sitting on a total holding of 1 million in addition, only from Project X. This doesn't mean the fund will start to dump or anything like this, but of course there is an income stream as well coming from Project X, and this income stream will be rather big if Project X is a success for the fund itself, right? Because the fund is, for example, holding 10% by itself. The only risk involved, let's say, for example, let's divide this, the only risk involved for the fund, basically there is no risk for the fund, right? Because there's no cash flowing. He's receiving this tokens, as you can think of a kind of a team vesting there, right? So a very, very big plus for the fund. Nothing to risk. We can still go our normal investment route there, which is also very important, right? Project X is not stopping any progress in BD Capital itself. This is a very important step that people need to realize. The only thing we are actually risking is, of course, the time of ourselves, AJ, my time, right? As the let's say core team of BD Capital there, which is heavily involved. So this is the only thing we are risking. But then again, of course, everything structured in a way that we are not like setting BD Capital as how would you say it, secondary company out there. But there, of course, BD Capital is working as the main head. And the only thing we need to risk is our time. And this is something very, very big, right? Is the BD Capital Launchpad only for BSC projects? No. It won't be only for BSC projects there. Not really something I would be like very interested in having a launchpad which is only running for BSC, because the much I love BSC, the chain itself, some things are not super nice in BSC, but you can say this about every single thing out there. Could we potentially launch Project X from the BD Capital? No, not possible. We will start with the private sale and crowd sale platform. The potential is there that we will structure, for example, the private sale through our launchpad. Not through our launchpad, but through the platform. But then again, you need to divide these two steps. The first thing to come is the private sale and crowd sale platform. And then, in addition, the development process for this fully fledged out launchpad will start, right? These are two separate things you need to look at. In the end, it will be one thing, of course, with the actual launchpad running, but we will start off with the private sale and crowd sale platform. Already details about the income stream from Project X? No, nothing I can share yet. Nothing I can share yet. We are able to share it as soon as everything is pinned, but then of course don't worry. As you know, the actual seed round is only for banks holders, and of course, if someone did dump like huge amounts already on the chart in one go, for example, we won't accept that for the seed round, right? This is something we also want to stay safe there. But before it comes to the actual seed round, everything will be ready, from the income stream, the project itself, right? You won't be investing into a mystery project there. So nothing to worry from this side. But then again, can tell you it's a lot of work, especially if you want to make the ratios clean, or not clean, but in the right way, and to structure everything for the pre-launch and the rates in the exact way. This takes some time. Of course, contract creation itself is also a lot of time, or let's say the planning for the contract creation. And yeah, graphics, right? Graphics and branding takes a lot of time, but it's also something which will be very, very interesting. Graphics and branding and everything. All right. So basically, this is also very important, right? Something I need to stress, because we got this question already. Is there a risk involved for banks holders? No, not at all. This is, in our opinion, the easiest way to influence the actual growth of the fund a lot, right? Because we are heavily involved and everything, but then again, the easiest way to actually influence the growth of the fund. Of course, if you're lucky and pick the right investment, and this, for example, ICO Moons with a 50x, yeah, this is basically the same. But then again, if we only invest, right, there's always the money risk involved. There are ICOs which are performing well. There might be some ICOs which are not performing well, right? So this is something which is very, very nice with the structure of the actual roof fund. A lot of plus, right? So the positive sides overweigh like the negative side. So basically the negative side is of course the workload itself. It's quite a lot, I can tell you, but then again, at some point this very early stage will end, right? And the team of Project X is basically able to take it over completely, and we will be there as strategic partners as well, as advisors, partners there. And then we have more time to dedicate in other things on top, right? Or next to BD Capital. But it will be very exciting. Will be very exciting, right? Some things to confirm already. Project X will run on the Avalanche chain. A very nice chain. Won't be using, like most likely, this is also something I can tell already, won't be using PinkSale itself. It's a big launch pad, but then again, for Avalanche, there are some options out there with communities which are heavily involved into Avalanche itself, right? So of course, you need to make the right strategic decision there as well. All right. So this as a kind of overview there of the fundamentals of the things which are planned, mapped out, etc. Of course, I think we all would appreciate it, right? If the market would actually start not to act in the way it is at the moment. Markets are dumping hard, buy time. Yeah, kind of, right? BTC sitting at, let me see, 35,800 roughly. BNB sitting at 372. So yeah, it looked better like a few hours before. And the market decided to turn around again. Yeah, annoying, right? We all want to have like normal market conditions, but yeah, something we cannot influence, sadly. The global market. Great chance to buy AUX. Yeah, definitely. AUX sitting at a very good price there. Basically anything is sitting at a good price, honestly, right? If you would ask me, is this a good time to buy Bitcoin? Of course, I cannot look in the future, but I would say, yeah, I don't think you can do a lot wrong there with buy price of the 35,800. No financial advice. Yeah, no financial advice, right? Bear market is we make our money. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Keep this in mind, right? But I guess a lot of people know this already. If you take a look at crypto, not only from, let's say, a few months period, but for a longer time period, there are always rough market conditions, right? But then again, if you take advantage of such market conditions, you will most likely perform better if you stick to some rules. It's not without a reason the saying out there that in bloody markets people are getting wealthy. Not rich, but wealthy. This is like a level above rich, right? Don't buy high and sell low. this is but this is so easy to say, right? Don't buy high, sell low. Yeah, but sometimes, especially in crypto and stocks and everything, right? You are facing rough market conditions. An advice I can give out there: don't don't be super scared, right? Don't be super scared. This is the way markets work. This is the way to actually make money, right? If there would never be a, you would call it bad market condition, you would never have a very good entry point. And this would be basically bad, right? This would be very bad. Imagine Bitcoin just sitting at, for example, 60,000 all the time, right? There's no way to make money there. No way. Would be like if it would work as a stable coin, right? No way for anyone to make money there. So it wouldn't be interesting at all. So you need this up and downs, like in the stock market, also in crypto. In crypto, the up and downs are of course way bigger than in the stock market, right? This is something you need to take advantage of. After show, yeah, indeed, right? So now it's the time to buy banks. Honestly, um, it's hard to give any advice out there, right? Because in my opinion, there's never a bad time to buy banks because we are still super early, right? But there again, no financial advice. If you are not only banks, right? But if you're looking to buy into a project, you checked it out, you see, all right, the team is fitting, team is great, the fundamentals of the project are fitting, and they are working on a lot of potential for the future. These times are very good. So the project itself is sitting in a dip. And then something you need to also consider, right? Because of the actual liquidity pairing. And then again, BNB, for example, in our case, as the paired or the pair of the liquidity is also sitting in a low. This is a very good time to actually invest into things, right? Because if the general market picks up again, for example, BNB growing from 374, which is sitting right now, to, for example, 450 again, the liquidity grows by itself, and you will see automatic gains in the chart only from the liquidity pairing, right? And then if you hit a good market condition, the volume coming back into the DeFi space, or let's say the altcoin market overall, which is lacking a lot of volume at the moment, then you will have this double gains on top from the pairing plus the project itself. So no financial advice there, but there are smart moments to get into anything out there, basically, right? You can apply this to any project which is paired with a bigger blue chip, for example, also on the Ethereum chain. Yeah, it doesn't matter at all. If the pair token itself is sitting in a dip and the project itself also sitting in a dip, well, kind of a good moment to buy, right? Don't try, this is also something I could advise you, don't try to like catch the bottom of the dip. It might work out sometimes, but most of the times it won't work out, right? This is something which is based on a lot of luck as well. Sometimes you are lucky, but then again, I would take investing and look at it in general, right? And then also, in addition, crypto is very fast paced, right? Very fast paced. Like it feels like 1 month in crypto, it feels like 1 year. But don't get this wrong, right? Take a look at bigger projects, at bigger blue chips out there. There are always dips and lows and everything. This is a normal procedure to have, right? A very normal procedure to have. But if you take it roughly, since it's very hard to catch the bottom and sell at the highest point, time in the market beats timing most of the times, right? The actual time which you are sitting in the market itself. Just look at Bitcoin, for example, right? If you were a very early investor in Bitcoin and you would be still holding Bitcoin, you would still be sitting at a very, very, very large profit, even if it was sitting in a dip again right now, right? And this is something which is very, very important here. Very important. Just for the people to understand. People tend to get very emotional, especially in crypto, in stocks as well, but from what I see, especially in crypto, people get worried a lot by the normal chart movement, right? It's not possible to sustain gains all the time or to sit on a growing chart all the time. Not possible. Can tell you. Not possible. You will always have these times. Right now we are facing it as a market itself, right? We're sharing the same thing or nearly the same thing with the stock market and everything. But I also had people asking me a prediction when this will turn around. I won't give out something like this, right? Because very, very hard to say, especially with some weird things going on in the world with COVID and with Ukraine and everything, right? Very, very hard to actually tell. Very hard. It looked good like a few hours before. BTC was breaking some key resistances there, at least in the, I think it was in the 4-hour chart. But then again, right, this is nothing you could base on only a technical analysis or anything. Sometimes it's moving even without very big fundamental reasons, right? There's loads of money even in this bear market. If you watch charts of SafeMoon, Evergrow, non-stop buys and sells, the trick is to somehow divert that to bankers, which is probably the hardest bit. Yes, this is a very, very hard bit, right? I can tell you. SafeMoon, for example, of course they have huge attention out there already. Also Evergrow coin, right? They have huge attention already out there. And yeah, of course they have volume. But then again, also for example in Evergrow, the actual volume is not doing a lot from the BUSD side, for example, right? And this is, at least from what I see, if I snoop around in the chat of Evergrowcoin, something which the people are also like, you could say worried about, right? Or anything like that. There is volume, of course, but the overall volume is like very, very low, very low. Of course you are able to grow, right? Don't get me wrong here, not blaming the market or anything. You are able to grow. We did grow. We did make a 150x without a nice condition in the overall market, right? But then again, to sustain this and to have this constant movement going, this is very, very hard, right? You can see this also from other projects. They are listing on multiple exchanges, for example. But aside from the early listing, yeah, you could say early listing hype, there's not a lot of volume or something coming from there. So, I remember that run was exactly when BNB was going down. Yes, exactly. Imagine would have been times 200 if BNB was on a slide. Yeah, exactly. So, of course, it's not possible, right? We did beat the market with a very, very hard 150x. This is also something which not a lot of projects out there are able to achieve. This is a very high number by itself. So it is able, yes, you are able to do it, but there is no recipe for this one, right? You could sink like 200, 300, 400,000 into marketing and you wouldn't see a big effect by itself. Just compare it, for example, with the call channels, right? You all know them, Telegram call channels or Twitter influencers, stuff like this, right? When we have been sitting in a altcoin market, right, in this very big bull run for the altcoin market itself, they would basically, like certain influencers out there, they would call something, and the call itself brought a 5x or a 10x to a smaller project. These times are over, or not over, but they are not existent at the moment, right? I see a lot of call channels, even bigger ones out there, which do not bring actual impact on the chart. And this is the lack of volume and the lack of people, like, yeah, you could say aping in, right? This is the difference between the market conditions. Fiat system is breaking down. They can't continue to increase interest rates around USD as themselves and other countries can service the debt. Inflation are at crazy highs in majority of countries. Oh yes, and your crash is debasing more than you can earn in the normal system. You have savings in cash or bank and you're losing money with the inflation and supply chain breakdown worldwide. Investing in things that can actually increase instead of decrease constantly is massive. Bear markets and buying large dips in projects and things you believe in can help change your financial standing if you're patient and calculate. Definitely, Jay. Very true, right? I can tell you, for the people which are maybe not like very deeply into finance or the actual conditions right now out there in the world, like not only certain countries but most of the world, right? The supply chains are yeah, in a very rough conditions. A lot of companies are just working from week to week, right? A lot of companies, they are filled to the top with actual jobs to make, but they cannot fulfill them because of the supply chain, right? The interest, or not interest rates, the inflations are it's crazy, right? Just take, for example, Germany itself, like the price you pay at the moment for electricity or even for heating, like gas or wood, right? This did explode. It did explode. And a lot of people are struggling with it already, right? Because they are not earning more money. They're not earning more money. Or at least sometimes they do earn more money, but not in the same rate as the prices did increase, like the overall prices. the overall condition at the moment is very, very tough. Just as an example, in Germany, right, interest rates for loans if you buy real estate. I think some people know it from mortgage or something like this, right? They did jump like enormously from 0.8 percent, I think it was, for a 10-year loan. It did jump up to 2.5, 2.8% at the moment. This is a huge jump. And now imagine the people which need to refinance. So basically they bought, for example, a few years ago at rather low interest rates, and they were at a limit already from the actual rate they are paying, right? And now they need to refinance because the interest binding did run out, and now you need to take a new loan. Some people are not able to pay this on top, right? This doesn't sound a lot, from 0.8 to, for example, 2 or 2.8%, but it has a lot of impact. Sometimes if you compare it, the actual amount of money you need to pay every month is 50% bigger with this kind of interest rates. And a lot of people are not able to pay this amounts if you add the general inflation on top for gas, electricity, food, and everything, right? A lot of people are struggling a lot at the moment. Like a lot. And not only people, also companies. Is this general discussion AMA? No, but we did drive over the fundamentals. So I thought it would be a good time to just talk about the general market and everything. I think it is. I would like to suggest a Bitgert price for the fund, or at least for you guys to look into it. Price with many zeros, 200% up in last 90 days, doing fairly good in this market. Got their own blockchain and releasing tokens on their own chain. I think they are what SafeMoon has failed so far to be. At least they're releasing products. I would like to see it in our fund, maybe 3 to 5 BNB worth, in case they become as high as Binance or closer. Yes, we have this on our you could say radar already, like kind of the radar already, right? It seems like a very, very good investment, definitely. Can confirm this one. Yes, watch list. Yeah, watch list, kind of, right? Nah, but it's sometimes I also think it is important to actually talk about certain things, market conditions, and everything. It's not only just to say, oh, the market is rough at the time. Nah, it is really rough at the moment, especially if you take a look at companies and stuff like that, right? Here, let me see. Our community did the 150x before. What do you think the community can do to increase the chart again? How can the community help? End war and raise the license. Yeah. No, it's very tough, right? It's very tough. Of course, the more people engage, the more people, for example, jump on tweets or Reddits or stuff like this, right? Helps tremendously. You cannot force anyone out there, right? So for example, if we put out a Reddit post, just as a comparison, when we did have this very big 150x run up, we did have on one single Reddit post, I think it was 200 comments, and I don't know how many upvotes, right? It was a lot, right? This brings a lot of attention out there. Of course, it is a lot easier if we reach this kind of levels, right? A lot easier. But then again, hard to fight the market. You need the people to be heavily involved as well, because marketing is like trying, let's say in such market conditions, marketing sometimes is like fighting a really big fire with a garden hose or something like this. Bitcoin was up 7%. Yeah, like before we talked about Bitcoin, the price was at roughly, it did even break 37,000 again, and it did hit 36,000 now again. So it's very volatile at the moment, like super volatile. And this kind of stuff is dragging altcoins down a lot by itself, right? But then again, nothing to like be super worried about or stuff like this. This is the way markets work, right? Bought multiple BNB earlier. Crazy volatile. I guess it was a good timing. But let's see. Just having this on this thingy called Stream Deck, like it is showing me the price of Bitcoin and everything. It's it's really jumping around a lot. Tell you, like jumping a lot around. Hitting the 36,000 in Bitcoin like multiple times over the course of some minutes is crazy. Going to 15 AVEX now. Yeah, this sounds funny, but then again, like I say, like actual financial advice, right? If you see an opportunity to grab something, yeah, doesn't matter what, a project or a blue chip or something like this at a decent price, just do it, right? Just go for it. You won't be wrong a lot of times, especially if you are not risking like a lot of of money or something like this. Sorry, a bit late, but how do we put into the seed round for Project X? A buy, if explained. We will share this. We will share this, Brandon. There is no exact date. We are getting everything ready for it. But then again, to actually open the seed round, we need to have the details ready, right? Because we do not want the people to participate in any kind of mystery or something like this. As soon as we have all the details ready, we are able to open up the seed round. But we are making very, very good progress. The rates, we worked on the actual rates and allocations for the pre-launch. They are looking very, very good and like seriously very good now. A lot of thought went into it, and now we need to get the rest ready, right? But you will hear it early enough. Don't worry, Brandon. All right, yeah, crazy volatile markets right now. Speaking, yes. I have the time in the side of my. Don't worry, AJ. Don't worry. Yeah, market's crazy volatile right now. Like seriously, I did see 37,000, and then I did see like this 36,000 straight in Bitcoin. Crazy at the moment, but don't be scared. Don't be scared, really. I think crypto junkies are live at the moment. Oh, very nice. If you haven't done yet, this is a show. I was also on the show, having a little interview there with Crypto Junkies itself. A new show, but the format is like seriously great. Very, very good format there for a show. Just started marketing. You can see the increase on actual views. Got a big increase there. So a very, very good show. And the most exciting part is we have a spot on the show, right? Thanks to Ron, who is actually running the show as a TV producer. Thanks to him, we have the spot on the show. And this show will not only stay on YouTube, but they are working to get this on broadcast TV. which is huge in itself then. And to have a spot there, right, this is very important. Even if you do not see this direct impact or something coming from it, but having a show like this is pretty big. Exactly. It's gonna be a huge boost for banks, right? Yeah, definitely. Especially since we do not have like this one-time show only, but a spot for us on the show itself. So this is kind of big, can tell you. Just give this some time. I have the feeling, because the actual show is amazing, the hosts are amazing, can tell you. Very nice show to watch. And once they bring this on broadcast TV, this will explode. And Ron is capable of doing this, right? Can tell you. He is very capable of doing this and pulling this off. If I was not sure about legitimacy of banks, seeing a project leader's life provides a sense of safety, which is, yeah, definitely right. Of course, we have like just to end this AMA with kind of a story time from the past. So when we launched back in December, we were not able to fully dox, right? We were not able to due to our jobs in finance in Germany. This was basically like the contract rule and everything, not allowed to dox there. We did the KYC and everything, but I can tell you it helps a lot from the trust side if you are doxed and people can actually see you, as for example you are able to see me in this Crypto Junkies interview, for example, or we were live in Zug, right? We were there as a team, so nothing to hide here, of course, but this helps a lot, right? Helps a lot, can tell you. I have a story for you, bro. Nah, but then again, before AJ is hammering on the clock again, I would say a big thank you. Like, big thank you for the participation. As soon as we have details, we will share them. We are working a lot on the background, can tell you. As soon as we have something which is very interesting for anyone out there, we will share it. And then otherwise, as usual, very big thank you. Let me see this. Soon you will do your AMAs in a big red chair with a joint talking about crypto like a wise man. Could be kind of interesting, right? Jim Booker Morrison. Oh god. No, definitely. Very interesting. And all right, people. Now, otherwise, a big thank you as usual. We will hear each other again tomorrow. I hope I have tomorrow some more details to drop for Project X. But I surely think I will. And then otherwise, a big thank you, right? Thank you for participating. And keep the heads up, even if the market is going on a roller coaster ride right now. Don't be worried. We are not in the crypto market for 2 weeks. We are in it long term, right? To build some wealth up. All right, people. Thank you all. And we will hear each other again next time, right? Bye bye.